Hey everybody, I just want to share something very quickly with you that's been on my mind as we're in the midst of Holy Week. I've been thinking about Genesis 22, where Abraham was asked by God to sacrifice his son Isaac as an act of faith. And I've preached this message before, or this idea, this thought before, but as we're in this Holy Week, I've just been thinking more and more about it. Abraham is asked to sacrifice his son Isaac, and he's doing it out of faith. And when Abraham is asked this thing by God, it's not something that was out of the ordinary for ancient Near Eastern religions for this type of sacrifice. So when God asks Abraham this, he looks around and he sees other idols and he sees other gods that have asked something similar. So he's taking this step of faith and trusting in God and trusting that God has a plan. So he moves forward, and it's not something different than what other gods or false gods and idols would ask. But you see, as he comes to the moment where he gets ready to sacrifice Isaac, God stops him. And God says, now I'm paraphrasing here, that you don't have to sacrifice your son Isaac. And I will give you the sacrifice to be made towards me. So Isaac is saved, and God in that moment provides a ram or a sacrifice that Abraham can make towards God. But there's a foreshadowing here. Because God here is saying, you don't need to sacrifice your son Isaac. I am not like other idols. I am not like other gods around. I am different because I am the true and the real God. And out of my love and out of my grace for you, Abraham, and for your descendants and for the world, you do not have to sacrifice your sons or your daughters, but I will. I will send my son. I will send Jesus, and he will be the sacrifice for all of you. In this moment, Abraham is shown the love and mercy of God and God's willingness to take that step and make that sacrifice necessary to reunite us with him. When Abraham begins that journey and that plan to be obedient to God, when he has been asked to sacrifice Isaac, he doesn't know what is going to happen. And all he sees is these other idols and these fake gods that are asking for similar things. But God shows he's different, shows he's real, shows that his love is real by showing Abraham that it is God that will bring the sacrifice. I've heard it said before when people have read Genesis 22 that if there's a God like this that requires me to sacrifice my son like that, it's not a God that I can believe in. But when we read this message, I read in a God that I can believe in, because that God took it upon himself to bring the sacrifice. Yes, Abraham stepped out in faith. And yes, Abraham was willing to be obedient to God. But God shows through this moment of history that he is different, that he is real, and that he is full of love. So as we are in this Holy Week, and as we come to Good Friday, let us remind ourselves that it is God that took on the debt. It is Jesus, the Son of God, who was the sacrifice for all of us. That yes, sin was there. Yes, rebellion is a part of our lives, and it is something that has separated us from God, and there needed to be a punishment for that. There needed to be a consequence for that disobedience. But it is God that took it on. Let us give thanks to God that he is real, and that his love is real, and that he took it on himself. He has brought the sacrifice. He has paid the debt. That is a God that I can love and believe.